Hey guys, Editor Huddy here. Just putting it out there. We are also on Spotify if you prefer that option. Don't forget, check out the Instagram account and Simmer Down podcasts as well. And let's jump into this. This is the second half of our moon landing debate. Let's get into it.
Like a metal can have all these other little things that can happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever, and it's not going to get affected in space. A human itself, if you can't there's no oxygen in space, you can't inhale something that's not there. Right? Okay, so now you're saying that so they pressurize it with air.
Yeah.
Send it up. Right?
I really hope that audio picks up.
And somehow this chamber, not a single leak, nothing, no bueno, like all good, right? Send it to the moon, drop on the moon. Oh yep, I just open up this door, walk outside, boom, oxygen escapes.
No, that's the point of the chamber. Like we've said, if you can control the amount of oxygen in a room, it's that's really simple, right? And I'll acknowledge this. We're trying to explain rocket science in chicken barn worker level head knowledge, right? Imagine you have got this room. I've built this in Lego many times.
Yeah.
Within this room, you have like a double-sided closet, right? There's a door in the front and a door in the back.
Yeah.
And these doors are airtight. The way that they've designed them to seal, they're airtight. Like even your car door to an extent is airtight because of how much air it holds back. And car doors are really simple.
Yeah.
These doors are airtight. Let's say that the door to the outside is closed, then there's this little kind of closet area.
The little mid.
I'm talking about like a room and then like a little chamber area, and then I'm talking about the outside. You go into this room, door closes, and I'm assuming you're wearing a suit that has the same capabilities. You put on your helmet seals, and you have oxygen in your suit. You can breathe. If you are able to control the oxygen in the big module, like we said before, it's feasible, we can do that. You can take the oxygen out of the room. You're creating a vacuum.
Yeah.
Now, because of the vacuum here, and the vacuum here, and the oxygen here, you can open up the door between, and there's no difference between this vacuum and the outside.
Yeah.
From there, you just take a step out, you walk down a ladder, and you're on the moon. When you want to come back in, you open up this door again, and you're still in a vacuum, and you just slowly put that oxygen back inside. So now you have air, you have atmosphere in this little chamber, and then you open up the other door, and now you're back inside. That's the concept. Like the actual numbers and the science behind it. I'm not a PhD freaking rocket scientist. I don't know. Like the actual numbers behind it, I don't know. But that's the concept.
Okay.
That's how it would have been done.
Yeah.
Does that make sense at the very least?
Yeah, to a certain extent.
Okay, we can dig into it after.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Soviets would have called that out considering the amount of technology they had to monitor space. And also the fact that the States has beaten them, or they've beaten the States to every major milestone. It's unlikely that they wouldn't have called foul because historically they didn't.
Yeah.
Claiming that the States had failed would have given them an abundance of propaganda against the US in the midst of the Cold War. That doesn't happen. The final big point that I have is that
it's hard for me to believe that you would just acknowledge that they went to the moon while you're in the midst of a war to them. That's as if saying, if Iran said, Trump did something, like now, obviously this Artemis 2 mission, so on and so forth. Let's just say for this example, right? So let's just say that Iran want to send up some kind of mission around Mars too, right?
Yeah.
Not Mars, around the moon, right? They want to send it as well. Okay, so then why would they? Okay, so if Iran did it, right? and the U.S. does it first. Why would Iran say, "Oh yeah, they did that," in the midst of the war?
Because they,
In the
I think,
midst of the war, I get it in a sense, but it does not make sense in terms of your own propaganda. Why it doesn't make any logical sense that you would actually do that.
I think that's one of the biggest things that actually supports the case, because I know exactly what you mean. You wouldn't want to. You would not want to admit that they beat you.
So then why
I
do
don't
it?
think, because I don't think that they could. I think that it was irrefutable enough that they couldn't just claim that it was fake without being a laughingstock. I think that the Soviets themselves had enough personal evidence from their own means and their own ways of observing and whatever. They're insiders, because they're gonna have people on the inside, of course.
Yeah.
They will have known enough from that, and then observing what the Americans are letting them hear and know, that they knew it happened. And if you claim,
at that point, you might as well just not
talk. If you claim that it was false, you can't just say, "Oh, they faked it."
Yeah.
You're gonna have to prove they faked it.
Yeah.
I don't think they could.
Okay.
You also have to realize this, right? Another side point. When has the largest movement of moon landing being fake? When has the largest movement of that mindset been around?
Now.
It's right now.
Modern technology.
It's not when it happened. It isn't like a couple years after. It's not like 20 years after. Oh, we got this new tech. Didn't happen. It's now. We did it 6 times. I think that the heart of the movement, the moon landing is fake, is built off of a distrust to the government that has become much more prevalent in the 2000s. People trusted the government a lot more, right? Is the government always trustworthy? No, it's not. And there's going to be a lot of propaganda that comes out. But I think that most of that has been, as of late, with the rise of social media and with the rise of all of the little things becoming much more easily spottable. And now that comes from the social media movement, right? That doesn't mean that what we did in the past is all fake. That just means that now, when we don't hear every little piece, we are a lot more questioning.
Yeah.
I think that has come about in a lot, to a larger degree in the last few years. I think that distrust that has been recently built has led us to think, well, hey, can we be certain? That's the question we're asking. Like, oh, I don't know.
And you're saying
I'm saying everything is built off of uncertainty. At the church that I go to, one of the things we like to practice is the idea of landing on what we know. What I mean by that is, imagine you're flying in a plane, and this plane represents like a theological conversation you're having with somebody. And if someone leaves the conversation on a what if type situation, you're pretty much just jumping out of the plane. That is not a good place to be. Jumping out of a plane with no parachute or safety equipment is a bad place to be. So you have to land that plane on what you do know so that you can be safe. If you try and build your entire argument around uncertainty, there is nothing solid in your argument. The entire way that you push forward what you think is other people that are in a state of, what do we really know? And you're not going off of any evidence. And when people present evidence to you, you just say, oh, well, can you really know that? And if you always land in a place of uncertainty and try and get the people that you're arguing or debating or talking to also be in that place of uncertainty, you question everything. If you were in that place, then there's no validity to what you're saying, because you're building everything off of a what if. You have to assume that all of the evidence that is presented is fake in order to try and believe what you believe. Not everything you hear is going to be
necessarily.
fake. There will be an
Because
extent of
then-
it that is probably maybe a bit twisted. Maybe a little bit of this is fake. I'm not saying that that's impossible,
Okay.
but I'm saying that to write off everything that we know
Mm-hmm.
is foolish.
Mm-hmm.
And everything that we know blatantly points to the validity of the moon landing and all the Apollo missions.
Mm-hmm. Yes, to a certain extent, except the fact that we actually sent humans.
Why would you say that everything except the humans is fake?
Like, there's actual evidence that there is all these different missions
Yeah.
because there is physical evidence.
Yeah.
We can land on physical evidence.
Yeah.
Right?
So the rockets
When-
existed. Question.
Yeah.
How would we get a lunar module? A soft landing, let's say. Let's assume that it was just a robot. Let's assume that we get this lunar module that doesn't actually have any people inside on the moon.
Mhm.
How do we then collect parts from another spacecraft and bring it back? We didn't land right beside.
Uh-huh.
We landed several hundred feet away.
Okay.
This thing doesn't move.
Mm-hmm.
The lunar module does not drive.
Mm-hmm.
You cannot simply just go gadget long arms this thing and go collect parts off of this other observer program, right?
Okay.
We collected stuff from the moon. You could make an argument that says, oh yeah, there was a claw on the module. We just grabbed some rocks. Because we have like soil samples and rocks from the moon, right? You can speculate on whether all of them are real or not, but we definitely brought back stuff from the moon.
Mm-hmm.
There is an argument that you could say that was done by the module itself. We had the tech in the past to do soft landings when the module could do that, but they couldn't get back to Earth. You could make the argument that now in the future from then, we had the tech and we did that. But how do you then say that we brought back parts from a different spacecraft? Because all the photos that we have of both of these rockets, supposedly taken by astronauts, show we are not right beside the other spacecraft, the Surveyor mission.
Mm-hmm.
The module we had does not have the ability to move.
But you're in a sense saying that, okay,
We would
how do
have
you
had
know
to
that
have-
these things are actually real? Like the things that they brought back
Yeah,
from the other spacecrafts.
like the parts from the spacecraft,
Uh-huh.
like the physical nuts and bolts
Yeah.
that we wanted to bring back.
How do you know that? I mean, they could have just created another one.
I don't know, maybe because they documented them taking out of the spacecraft.
Actual physical photo and
They have the actual things they brought out.
yeah,
we have
yeah,
those.
The parts, yes, but not actual actual evidence. Them grabbing these parts off of it, bringing it back to the spacecraft.
We have
bringing it back to
photographs of astronauts doing and taking the stuff from the Surveyor program.
What? Which one?
There's the Surveyor. I forget I don't know if it's a probe or a thing. The Surveyor project is what they call these things. Surveyor is the name of the spacecraft.
Okay.
There's photographs of astronauts going over to this thing.
I've
and taking
never seen
parts.
these.
Look it up.
Throw them up.
I will try and find one or two, and if I
Yeah, try and do that.
all right, I will. That was half of the maybe not half. I don't know the exact number, but that was a portion of the reason Apollo. It was 12 or 14. That's why one of the reasons why they went up.
Okay.
They've also collected film from these things.
Hmm?
Like
So this is
collect-
where the questioning really comes in. Okay, is the fact of
how do you collect
film.
data and information from a separate spacecraft that you did not land beside? You cannot simply walk over and grab.
Are you
Spacecraft
saying?
can't do that.
Are you saying that they landed other ones right beside it? You're gonna land here. We're gonna film this
I'm
from the other
saying
spacecraft.
there was more than one astronaut
So-
that left the thing, right? There's more than one person on the moon at a time.
No.
That's the way you take
You're
photos
not-
in space.
Okay, so
What's your question?
the thing is,
Yeah.
when they landed
Mhm.
on the moon, how did they get that in? How did they see them landing?
Are you saying that there's film of the spacecraft landing?
Yes, sir.
That I don't know that we have.
Okay,
there might-
I'll send that to you, and then it taking off as well.
I'm pretty sure that there were cameras on the spacecraft itself.
But you can't. How are you going to get that evidence back?
Other missions. Like,
no.
You explain your point one more time. I think I'm misunderstanding what you're trying to say.
They landed on the moon.
Yeah.
Filmed. They did all these little things.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. Right? Took all these photos.
Mm-hmm.
And so on and so forth. Took off. How do you get that back? How do you get that evidence that you filmed?
I might have written it down. Did I write it down?
You probably didn't.
Yeah. Apollo 15 is noted as retrieving orbital camera film.
Okay. So
camera film.
Uh-huh.
That's pictures and video.
Uh-huh.
Just pictures. But it is documented as one of the things Apollo 15 did was retrieve that.
Okay.
Which implies that there was a spacecraft on the moon that had it.
Yeah.
They went in and they took it back and they brought it back.
Okay. Okay. So that answers that.
One of the documented things.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good. How do you get the photos back to Earth, published, and put on the newspaper the next morning?
Apollo 14.
No. Apollo 11.
They were live.
Yes.
Apollo 14 had color image.
Wait, no. Apollo?
You let me finish my statement.
11.
Apollo 11 had film and video that was live. It wasn't color. It was black and white.
Yep. And that's what
it was televised. Like the video where Neil Armstrong says, "One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind." That's live. That's actual footage they took. That was broadcasted. The difference between that and Apollo 14 is because Apollo 14 had it in color.
Okay.
That's the significant thing there. Once we had it in color, you can see like the actual colors and what the inside of that thing actually looks like. But we had video available on Apollo 11. And that was transmitted back to Earth.
And how did they do that?
It's the same way anything else works.
Okay, but why can't I get service in Pansy then?
It's because Pansy is in the middle of nowhere with trees surrounding it.
Okay, well, the moon is 282,000 miles away.
Let's think about this, Randy, right?
No.
It makes sense.
It's in the middle of nowhere, right? We're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I'll explain it. We get it. The way we get signal, there's a big tower over there, and there's an invisible line drawn to your device. Your device there, my device over there, right?
Yep.
Pansy, especially my house in the church, surrounded by trees. The only reason we get internet is because we got a big tower in our backyard that's above the tree line, so that there is no obstruction to this invisible line. When you're in space, if you got a wicked tall tower, there's nothing in the sky between you and the moon or this rocket. There's gonna be
nothing.
There's no obstruction. There's an antenna or whatever kind of tech they had to transmit signals, and there's a tower that receives it. The signals are still there. Like the way that they transmit them is different, and I'm not incredibly familiar with how the tech works. But Voyager 2, let's say. You've heard of the Voyager 2 program? That is the satellite that's been able to document like planets. That is out and past Pluto already. We're still communicating with it. We're launching signals back to it. It takes something like 8 months for it to come back. Because we're still sending it out. It goes a really, really far distance.
Yeah.
It's received.
Yeah.
And then it's sent back a really far distance. And then eventually we get it.
Yeah.
The means and methods of how all that all functions, I don't know exactly, right? Because that's complicated stuff that I'm not completely aware of, right? But the difference between us getting signal here and the fact that they can communicate with something really far away doesn't change. We have obstructions here because there's trees and everything around. But there's nothing blocking that signal from going through to the moon. There's probably like a wicked long delay. Like, was it like live, like when I snap my fingers and he's actually touching the moon? Was that the exact same second? No, there will have been a delay. Of course there was a delay. But did it actually happen? I don't see a reason why it wouldn't.
Yeah. I don't know. I still, I see where it all comes from. I just there's in a sense there's factors that I wouldn't understand.
I think we should almost. No, I'll finish your statement and
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
Yeah. There's some factors that you like that I just wouldn't understand, and I mean, like I don't, in a sense, like how would I say it?
You don't want to believe until you
I
fully understand everything and how it was done.
Yeah, to a sense, but also there, yeah, exactly, right? So like I like to question it, because there is some areas that are pretty questionable to that exactly extent. There's obviously evidence and stuff like that, but in terms of I don't know. I'm not a scientist, and I'm not like or whatever they call them. So like I wouldn't know how that all worked, but there's yeah, like I said, I'm not a scientist, so I don't even understand it all.
So 2 points to this, right?
Yep.
So first one being, if to me it presents as if
would you
you're
consider
saying,
yourself as questionable too, or would you say, nope, I believe it fully?
I believe that the information we have, generally speaking, that we landed on the moon with people on the moon, it's real.
Okay.
So here's the thing. To the point that you said where you don't fully understand everything and there's a bit of doubt there, if you think about the demographic of people that doesn't believe the moon landing, they're all blue collar. Right? The fact that you do not have any significant player in the scientist kind of demographic of the people that actually understand how it should work, there's no one of note there that's calling it out saying, hey guys, I double checked, the math is wrong.
Yeah.
We didn't do it.
Yeah.
You never hear about that. If it was all fake, you would expect that there would be a skeptical guy out there that's like, hey, I got a PhD in rocket science, let's go check. But you've never heard about that.
Well, there is certain people that have done that.
I'm not denying that there's people that have checked, but there's no one of note. There isn't anyone of like scientific significance that's saying, like, we should
one of
genuinely
the
be
astronauts completely denies it.
Which astronaut?
I forget which guy it is.
All right, while you research this,
yeah.
My other point is that you gave me a number before of how far away the moon is. How do we know that? The reason we know that is because on these missions they brought out what they called retro-refracting or retro-reflecting mirrors. That's a really fancy word for a mirror that is designed to directly shine back a laser or whatever you pointed it to the exact spot where it was shone from, where it was projected. So if I take a laser pointer and I point it at a mirror, it's going to bounce off and go a different way. But what these fancy mirrors do is they will point it directly back at me because of the way that it's been designed. They use the same tech to magnify the images that the Hubble telescope and this new one they put up. That's part of the ways that they can do that. So that tech exists. But what we've been able to do with that is we've built, as a society, a laser strong enough to get to the moon and that can bounce off of there and come back. And we know the speed that this thing travels, and we can measure how long it takes before it comes back to measure the distance of the moon. But we didn't just drop those off and leave. Those things have to be done very carefully. And if they're done wrong, they're useless. But we know where they are because we actually got people to build them and like put them there.
But
we have hardware on the moon.
They already knew that beforehand. They already knew that beforehand because
knowledge of how far away the moon is does not change the fact that we have hardware on the moon that we still use. Like like you can go and do this if you have the capability. Not a lot of people have a laser strong enough to get to the moon and back, and then the instruments to read it and to be able to detect all of that. But if you have that tech, you can do that.
Yeah, but they already knew that beforehand because there's like some sort of thing, like the moon is in a sense reflective.
If you shine,
because they knew that beforehand, like that whatever.
If you shine a laser at the moon with nothing there, it's not going to bounce back, and you can't read that.
There are certain spots of the moon that it does.
It does not change the fact that we have built stations that do that. We didn't just throw those there. That's not a soft landing spacecraft.
How do you know?
We placed those there. That was half the reason of several Apollo missions to build those and put them there. Humans put them there. We did not drop them off of a spacecraft.
Could it be done?
Could it be done?
Yeah.
That we dropped them off? With the amount of like precision and how carefully it has to be done, it would be a terrible idea to do it by spacecraft. It would be far easier for someone to go and put it exactly down. And the fact that they still function and work, I think, is solid evidence that we are actually there.
Okay.
It was also, if it was possible for the American government to drop them by a soft landing robot, why didn't we do it before we had humans in the moon?
Well, no,
why would we have needed to wait for a mission with humans, with people, to go to the moon and do it then, if we were able just to do it with a rocket that didn't have people on it? Because up
that's
till that
what
point,
they're trying to prove, though, is that they could have humans on the moon.
But why would you wait until after that to do this mission if you knew you didn't need people to do it? Because the conversation of whether or not we can put people on the moon and whether or not we can put this device that'll allow us to measure how far away the moon is are two separate missions. You do not need one or the other, right? Assuming that you didn't need humans to do it, you would not need to wait for humans to go to the moon, supposedly, in order to do this mission. So if it was faked, why wouldn't they have already done that? Because they didn't do it until after the Apollo missions. They waited until humans had gone to the moon successfully, and then once they've done that and once they're able to do it again, that is when we have these things brought out and placed on the moon. If we had the tech to do that beforehand, which we did, there's no reason why they would wait until this fake human on the moon landing thing comes out before they do that, because then you would have to rely on this fake thing for this real tech to work. Because the objects themselves, like these refractors, they're not questioned. We still use them.
Yeah,
that's not fake.
Okay, I got one final thing, and then we're gonna end it.
All right.
And it is so there is all this sort of proof that it's real, right?
Yeah.
How do we know that? Because they've been tested, right? Correct?
I want to see where you go with this. I don't know.
Okay, so they've tested it here on Earth.
Like, how do we know the rockets worked?
No, like all these other things, like the waving flag and the shadows and all that, all tested here on Earth. Correct?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll end on this. If they can do it here all on Earth, why wouldn't they have?
Why wouldn't they have?
Yeah.
Let's take the flag example, right?
Yeah.
So one of the big things with the flag is, why is it waving in the wind if there's no atmosphere?
Yeah. Yes, that's because they twisted it. I'm just saying, that's gotten proven here on Earth.
You know, would you like to know how they proved it? They did a Mythbusters episode on this. They built a vacuum.
Yep.
They put up the same flag they did, and they wiggled it.
Yep.
Right? And we can observe the same motion, and we know exactly why they did that. If you wanted to recreate the scene of a flag on the moon, you would have to build a massive vacuum chamber, a perfect green screen to reflect the blackness of the moon. You have to recreate the moon landscape, but you also have to build a system that can sustain human life in a vacuum with a full suit, with a guy in it, waving this flag on Earth. If you can already do that, you already have the tech to do it in space. If you're building the tech to sustain human life in a vacuum, to wiggle a flag to say, even if they question it, now we've got proof, you've already created the elements needed to sustain human life. If you already have that,
without the risk.
If you now say that risk and the potential failure is the reason that NASA is not going to send people to the moon, Apollo 1, the mission was renamed Apollo 1 at the request of the general public, was one of the early missions when they were testing out one of the pieces of the rocket with people inside. There was a cabin fire before the rocket launched, and it killed everyone inside. It led to a fire in the cabin and killed everybody inside. This is before any of the Apollo missions. It was renamed Apollo 1 at the request of the public. NASA has already suffered public shame before any of this starts. If public shame and the fear of failure is the driving factor to try and fake it, NASA already suffered that. They have already publicly failed and killed astronauts. If that was the big driver towards faking the moon landing, was to avoid it, they would have been shut down before we ever tried. Because we already did that and we already failed.
It was also Buzz Aldrin. That's who said it was fake. The astronaut.
What did he say?
That he just whatever he's getting questioned and so on and so forth. And also, I guess
what were the
another thing is like none of the astronauts, whatever you've seen, like the guy doesn't, like he says, if it was real, put your left hand on the Bible and like admit that it was true, right? None of them did it except one guy, and the guy was an atheist, so he didn't believe it in the Bible, right?
I have not seen any of this.
Okay.
Well, you can send it to me and I can.
Well, and then actually, the funny thing about that is, like afterwards, like once the whatever the atheist guy did it, right? And so afterwards, whatever, it was like a whole thing, and like the guy literally chased him out of his house, right? And his son, right at the end of the clip, yells, "Yo, Dad, should I call the CIA and get them erased?"
Does he say that word for word?
Yeah.
I have not seen any of this.
Put that clip in.
It should also be noted that he could just be saying that because there's intruders in his home. And if you're already working for a highly prestigious government agency, you probably have people that are trying to keep you safe. Because if you think about it, the biggest portion of the moon landing is fake, is recent. But I'll still acknowledge there probably was a big group of people back then that didn't believe it, right? There's probably going to be a bunch of hillbillies in the South that are like, I hate the government, whatever they're saying. So it would not be surprising that there would be people, like even you could make an argument that there was probably Russian insiders that are like, you know what, we don't want this to go public. We want to, they could have had ulterior motives, let's say. The exact details, I don't know, I wasn't there. But there is a legitimate argument that you could say that the CIA is probably a little bit worried for the lives of the astronauts just because now they're big public figures. So it would not surprise me that people are trying to stage this as faked. Especially back then. Now it's much more prevalent because you can find anything you want on the internet. So a couple videos of them supposedly claiming that it's fake, I would be highly skeptical of that.
Yeah, and just the fact that it's one astronaut, but
because we have 24 of them that were on the moon. We have,
but like also none of them actually acknowledging it, by like putting their hand on the Bible. But whatever. That's I don't know. It's just kind of a thing that obviously it doesn't matter in my opinion. It's just fun to talk about. So
and like to that point, I'm skeptical when you look at it and you take a sliver of a video and say, I'm going to look at this portion and base my entire thought on this. Because there's a before and there's an after of that video
Yeah.
that we don't see.
To a certain extent, but
there can
like,
be
there's-
factors that play into it that are not expressed in that video, that are intentionally hidden. This is what the media does all of the time.
Yep.
Right? And if you look at the people that are going to be pushing that kind of a view, they do that with everything. It is not an exclusive group of people that say, we believe everything, but we don't believe this because we think this is wrong. The group of people that are pushing that the moon landing is fake is part of a group of people that think that everything the government does is wrong and everything is a conspiracy. That is a red flag, because their motive is no longer trying to say, hey, we're calling you guys out because you did something wrong. It is, hey, we hate the government, let's bring them down, we're going to use this as a stepping stone. So the sources you look at, you have to be careful with.
Yeah.
If you can send that to me, if Randy sends those to me, I'll link those in the video. Y'all can take a look at them, and y'all can make up your own opinions. This is obviously for fun. I'm not gonna like try and kill Randy or anything. I might, but not on camera. But yeah, that's what we have. Hope you all enjoyed it. This is gonna be like a 2-hour episode.
No, I think it was like probably an hour and a half.
Hour and a half.
I think we're chilling. So
all right, Morgan is waiting for us. We gotta go. Thanks for watching.
Yeah,
and
appreciate you.
Yeah.